Good morning. Welcome back to another video. Everyone can pretty much tell that we're still in lockdown here in New South Wales, so I thought this would be a good little chance to do a bit of a cooking segment. I went down and picked up an absolute cracker of a pork shoulder from our local supermarket the other day. Just a little bit over 2 kilos. It's a little bit over 2 kilos, so I thought it's Friday. Let's have a bit of a treat. Let's do some pulled pork, but I'm going to try to do it in the camp oven, a little bit different. I want to do it the same as what I normally would do in the smoker or the kettle barbecue, but I want to try to do it in the camp oven. So it's going to be low and slow. It's probably going to take about 4 hours-ish, I think. But it's all going to be about temperature control and how to keep the heat in this camp oven fairly low, around that 135 degrees. But anyway, let's get straight into it. I'll show you how I'm going to prepare this, what I'm going to use for a rub, and how we go from there. So let's get into it. Right, so there's not too much that goes into it. I usually do use a few other things. Here, ball, mate. Go on. Usually do use a few other things, but for today, I'm just going to be using salt. So just normal table salt, black pepper, some cayenne pepper, and paprika. And some brown sugar. Don't forget brown sugar. You'll notice it if you forget it. But I normally put a few more other little things in there. If you've got onion powder and garlic powder, definitely go ahead and use that, because it works a treat. But anyway, I'll get this bad boy open. Something to note too would be that I haven't tried this before in a camp oven, so I really don't have any idea how this is going to turn out. Oh, I just wore pork juice all over myself. After you get that rope off, just use a little bit of, I usually use mustard for this, but all I've got is olive oil. I've run out of mustard, so just a little bit of olive oil, sort of all over the outside. Now, because I'm using oil, you will taste olive oil. You will taste this, just a little bit. It's not bad. I think it's great, but I normally use mustard, and just using this as a binder, so that when I make the rub, it sticks to the meat nice and tight and doesn't sort of fall off, or it doesn't, as the meat starts to sort of drip and fats and that start coming off the meat, it doesn't run away with the rub. But anyway, nothing too complex about it. Alright, so you can be as accurate as you want and spot on as you want with all these measurements, but I never am. So I want, say, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. That's about right. A touch more, but whatever. I don't know why, but pork just seems to go really nice with anything sweet, so that's why the brown sugar. About 2 teaspoons black pepper. Another 2 teaspoons of just normal white table salt. A little bit more than that. Oh, whoops. What do we got here? Paprika. So paprika won't give you that much flavour. It'll give you a little bit, but not heaps. It's mainly just for that nice mahogany and that reddish colour. So we'll go another 2 teaspoons. Oh, I might not have 2 teaspoons. Nope, that's all I got. 1.5 teaspoons. Now you definitely don't have to use what I'm using here. You can just go to Woolies or Coles or wherever, and just buy a pre-made rub. There's a heap of ones out there, a heap of good ones out there. Cayenne pepper, half a teaspoon. Don't put too much of this in, especially if you've got little kids. It can get hot. But it is really nice. So anyway, that's all I'm using in mine today. Give it a bit of a mix up. Now when you're putting your rub on, you want to put as much
rub as you possibly can on that meat. So you're just putting layer upon layer of flavour into that meat. You don't have to go too crazy with that fat cap on top, because the rub won't actually penetrate into the meat. But the more rub you put on, the more flavour you get at the end of the day.
Now I'm just using, to show you, I'm just using a little oven thermometer. You can pick these up for about $5 from Kmart or somewhere. But just to make sure that I don't overcook this and burn the bejesus out of it, I'm just going to use that while I'm preheating, just to make sure I get the right temperature. Alright, so in we go. I'm going to put this straight in, fat side up. That's just the way I always do it. I don't know why. Alright, so normally I'd check that every 2 hours-ish, 2.5 hours if it was on the smoker, but I'm probably going to come out here and check this every hour, just because I have no idea how it's going to go, and I really don't want to burn the arse out of it, so I'll see you guys in about an hour. It's worth mentioning as well that I'm using a trivet, so just to keep that pork up off the bottom of the camp oven, just so nothing burns and nothing gets too hot. Righto, so let's have a quick look at how this is going. It's actually been about an hour and a half, more than an hour, but I've just mixed up a little bit of sort of water and apple cider vinegar. I find this works really good with pork especially. But anyway, let's have a look. If we need a little bit of liquid in there, we can just dump a little bit of this into the bottom. Just have a quick look. Yeah. Let's have a look under here. It's looking pretty good. It's coming along pretty nicely. It's definitely worth putting a little bit of moisture in the bottom though, just to keep that cooking over nicely. And I'll just get this lid back on, and just to make sure that nothing burns or gets too hot on the bottom. So I'll take a little bit of this and just put it in. You don't need much, just to keep moisture in there. You don't need a lot, just enough to sort of come up a little bit on the trivet. Also worth mentioning that I've got the little oven thermometer in there. You might be able to see that. Just to make sure that temperature doesn't get too hot in there. Might just move that back over this side. That's a bit easier to see. Alright, let's get the top back on. Whack that lid back on and come back out again in another hour or so. It's looking really good. Alright, so it's been another couple of hours, and every sort of hour I was topping it up, just to topping up the bottom of the liquid, just with a bit of water or, well, water and apple cider vinegar I was using, but water just does fine as well. I've taken the pork off the fire, and I'll just throw in some footage here. I opened it up and it looked awesome. So I was checking the temperature with just a digital probe thermometer, and it was pretty much right where I wanted it to be. So if you haven't seen any of these little probe thermometers before, I'll put a link to this one down below, but I just picked this one up from BBQ's Galore. I think it cost me about $40, 39 bucks or something like that. And they are awesome. Take up no room, magnet on the back so you can just stick it on the side of your canopy or whatever. But they are unreal when you're cooking meat, especially when you're smoking meat. These things come in so handy. So anyway, not sponsored or anything, just like these things. Something just to remember as well, if you're ever going to use one of these camp ovens, these Bedourie camp ovens, when you lift it up, don't expect it to just lift up perfectly, especially if you've got liquid in there. If there's anything liquid in this thing, it's just going to flip on you, only because it's got the one handle. It'll just, you might be able to see, ready? It's going to go to one side straight away. These, yeah, they're terrible when you're picking them up off a fire. Let's have a bit of a look at what's going on in here. It's still going to be super hot, but looking pretty good. That fat definitely didn't, the fat cap didn't render down as much as I would have liked, or crisp up for that matter. But that's all right, because we're not really, that's not what we're after. But anyway, just let that sit there for a while. That's gonna probably rest for the next half hour. So in about half an hour, we'll start trying to pull this apart. And I reckon it's gonna pull apart absolutely schmick. So I'll see you in half an hour. So anyway, this pork shoulder's been resting for about 20 minutes, half an hour. Should be plenty, but we'll just open it up and have a look what it looks like inside. If you don't have like a probe thermometer, like one of these, you can just usually just feel and go off tenderness and just see how tender it actually feels. To me, that's feeling pretty tender. But anyway, we'll pull this guy out and see what it turned out like. So, whoa, it's pretty hot. So, depending on how you do, your pulled pork, a lot of this fat cap, you're not going to get it to turn into crackling. If you're going to do it low and slow, God, that's hot. If you're going to do it low and slow, you're not going to get this to turn into crackling. Obviously, if you're going to do it just a normal roast, then yeah, crackle it, definitely. But usually if you're going to do that low and slow, you're not going to get the temperature hot enough to make it into a good crackle. So, but hot tip, put it skin side down, straight on the fire, and you can crackle it up in about 10 minutes. All right, I'm just going to quickly give it a little cut right there. Oh. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's kind of turned into more of a roast, but it still just pulls apart beautifully. That, you can't really get any better than that. That is just pulling apart so easy. Oh, super hot though. If you got any wool gloves, use them. I don't have any, but woolen gloves with nitrile. Yeah, look at that, is just pulling apart. Super simple. I'll try to get something on the GoPro for you. So you can see that's just pulling apart. Just perfect pulled pork. This turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to. I honestly didn't know how this was going to turn out. Being that I've never done it in a camp oven. Okay, go away. What are you doing? Bark, go. Go on. Being that I've never done pulled pork in a camp oven before, I've only ever done it in a smoker or a Weber sort of kettle style barbecue. So, a slow cooker in the kitchen, but this has turned out absolutely awesome. I'm stoked at how this has turned out. All right, yeah, come over here. Go on. Good boy. And all these nice bits of pork that are attached to just a lot of fat. Don't go throwing that out, or don't go throwing it to your dog like I just did, because they are some of the best eating bits of these shoulder roasts. I'll finish pulling all this apart, guys, and then I'll get you inside because we're going to sauce this up and serve it up on a couple of rolls. All right. Pretty easy. Just sauce all over it, then get into it with your hands, mix it all around.
You can use tongs.
We should have, but it's only us eating it, so who cares? So pretty easy, just turn it all around, mix all your sauce in, whatever sauce you choose. That's your favourite one, isn't it?
Yeah. Sweet Baby Ray's. It's good.
It's good. Anyway, guys, super easy recipe to do. If you don't have a smoker, or you don't have a Weber kettle style barbecue, you can do one of these really easy in a camp oven and just on a fire. So let me know in the comments below whether you like that one or not, and if you want to see more of it. But what should everyone do if they want to see more of us?
Like and subscribe.
Like the video, guys, hit that subscribe button and hit your bell notification there and turn your notifications on your All right, that's probably good enough. Where's the sauce?
I didn't bring the sauce.
You should have.
What
I had everything else in my hands. I had the meat and the beer and the pasta salad. You had a bread roll. I'll get the sauce. All right, just